Today I'm going to reveal to you the 10 reasons why you cannot get rid of your gut for the life of you. And I know how much it sucks to look in the mirror and see a body that you do not want to see. And I'm sure many of you are in this position right now where you have a gut and you don't even know how you got it in the first place. You've had it for months, if not years. And better yet, you don't even know what you should do to get rid of it. And if that is you, I highly recommend you stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to show you the 10 things that are keeping you stuck with a gut right now and what you can actually do to make it completely disappear. So reason number 1 is you don't eat enough in the way of dietary fat, which I know sounds extremely counterintuitive, but fat, simply put, does not formulate an insulin response. And simply put, if you've watched this channel for a while, you know that insulin is the ultimate predictor of how much body fat you're going to lose or gain. You either get a good insulin response or a bad one that stimulates insulin for hours on end, and insulin goes ahead and starts storing body fat in the way of glucose into the fat cell, either around your skin or around your organs. And if you were to eat a whole stick of butter, pure saturated fat, of course nobody's going to do this, but if you were to do this, just eat nothing but saturated fat, a pure stick of butter, insulin does not go up at all. There is no insulin response. So your probability, your likelihood of storing body fat is also 0. So the whole idea you're gonna gain body fat by eating saturated fat makes no sense. And not to mention, it is healthy. And I'll go ahead and link the video I made on saturated fat on why it's healthy and why it's actually good for weight loss. I'll link that in the video description in case you'd like to check that out. So number 2 is you have an I'll do it tomorrow mentality. I've talked to so many guys in person, online, everywhere who want to lose weight, want to lose their gut, and I start giving them recommendations, whether it be, to prioritize weight training, to, have an insulin response mindset or whatever, right? And one of the most common things I hear is that, yeah, I'll get started on Monday, or oh, I'll do that tomorrow. That's BS, man. You're not going to do it Monday, or you're not going to do it tomorrow. You might as well just say, I don't feel like doing it right now. That's really the translation. You don't feel like doing it right now. And it could be for many different reasons. It's not really your fault that you don't feel like doing what you know you have to do right now, because you've probably tried, counting calories, counting macros, or caloric restriction in the past, and you have a very negative relationship with fitness and with dieting and exercise anyway, right? We're gonna get into that here in a moment, but you have to put yourself in a position where you actually look forward to what you're doing, or else you're always gonna wanna do it tomorrow, because that just means you don't wanna do it, and you may not ever do it. Think about the last time you told yourself you were gonna do it tomorrow and then you actually went out and did it. It's probably not that common. So, number 3, you don't prioritize weight training. I see this mistake all the time. So many guys actually prioritize cardio because they believe they just have to move more and eat less and just burn more in the way of calories, when really you're not addressing the root cause of the problem there. Once again, it's insulin. And if you're not prioritizing weight training, you're not getting near as big of a metabolic boost. And I'm not saying don't do cardio at all. It's optimal to do both weight training and cardio, but you're not necessarily boosting your muscle mass or adding more muscle mass to your body whenever you're just strictly doing cardio only. Yeah, you get a cardiovascular boost. Yes, you get a good endurance effect, but you're not adding muscle mass to your body. So even if you have an amazing diet that is optimized for insulin, you're getting a good insulin response with each and every meal, right? If you don't work out at all, you're not gonna see near as much in the way of benefits. I have a client, Dion, who he does 4 30-minute workouts per week, and he just has a pair of dumbbells and a bench. You really don't need that much. And he still lost 12 pounds in his first month joining the health optimization program, right? And this is true for so many other guys. Chris also lost 10 pounds within his first month as well. Lost 36 pounds in the span of 3.5 months. And we were not doing a second of cardio. Those 2 guys, pretty much everybody that's joined my program, does not do cardio unless they ask me to, unless they want to make it a part of their routine, right? Whether they want to walk or do some HIIT, etc. It's not something you should prioritize if you want to lose your gut and lose body fat around your stomach. So, number 4, you follow restrictive dietary methods, or you have followed them in the past, and now you have a very negative relationship with dieting itself. And once again, this is not your fault if you are somebody that has fallen to this in the past, but I will say, a caloric restriction, caloric deficit, counting calories, counting macros, weighing your food, All these things have two big things in common, right? One, they don't address the root cause of the problem, and two, they all absolutely suck. If you're a guy in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, you get home from a long day of work, or you get off all these Zoom calls with all these guys you're speaking to on your team, or you're running a business, etc. You just have a lot going on your plate. If you're most likely you do if you're watching this video, and you go home and you have to weigh your food. You go home and you have to count your calories, make sure you're not meeting you're not going past your caloric limit. No one is going to be able to, one, do that the rest of their life, or two, actually enjoy it and look forward to it. It's just not going to happen. And you're literally dancing around the problem. You're taking the hard road. You're not going straight to the throat. And if anything, once again, I've broken down why a caloric deficit does not work and why it doesn't address the root cause of weight gain. I'll also link that video in the video description. But I'll mention some of this here. You seriously dysregulate your hormones whenever you follow a caloric deficit, and you also slow down your metabolic rate. You dysregulate ghrelin, a hunger hormone. You dysregulate leptin. You increase cortisol. Even though you will see some initial weight loss results doing a caloric deficit, you do not address the root cause of weight gain, which is insulin. And you basically accumulate all these side effects in the process, and then the moment it's time for you to go through the maintenance process, or you stop doing a caloric deficit even for just a few weeks, that's why you see such a rapid onset of weight gain around the stomach too. Because you've already slowed down your metabolism, and then the moment you just have twice as much in the way of food for just a few days, your body doesn't really know how to react very well with it, right? Because your hormones are dysregulated, you're starving, you have brain fog, and you have slowed down your metabolism. So of course it's not going to be a good outcome. So if that's you and you're doing that right now, stop doing a caloric deficit. Stop counting calories, stop counting macros, stop weighing your food. Make your diet a lifestyle change and just focus on getting a good insulin response. You do not need to control portions or numbers. Weight loss is not a mathematical equation. So, number 5 is you're not a big fan of getting out of your comfort zone. And you hate making decisions when circumstances are not great. This is huge. Once again, we got all these boxes checked here, especially all the guys that have joined my program, like Joel, who's lost 50 pounds in 5 months, Chris, who's lost 36 pounds in 3 months, all these guys, all these testimonials that you've either seen or have not seen. We make it easy to follow. We optimize insulin. Of course, we want to include some weight training, so each one of these guys are doing weight training, right? But we make it to where you actually look forward to it, so you can actually have that consistency. So once again, this may not even be your fault, because you have tried all these different programs and plans in the past that you literally just hate following. You don't look forward to it. You don't necessarily have to get motivated to watch your favorite TV show, go play with your kids at the park, or watch a movie with your wife. But you definitely have to get motivated to weigh your food. You definitely have to get motivated to, do a 2-hour-long workout with half of it being HIIT. Those are things that are not fun, right? But the moment you check the box of your plan not only being fun, a lifestyle change that doesn't feel like a change, and it's effective, that's when you've truly made it. And that's what you have to figure out to fix that problem. So you can make decisions even if circumstances aren't great. Even if you have 3 to 4 12-hour work days in a row, you still go out of your way to work out because you actually look forward to doing that workout. Or let's say you go on a lunch break and you have some meals that you've prepared that you actually really look forward to eating, that you know is going to get you a good insulin response. That's what you need to figure out. And that's literally exactly what I do for all of my clients. I review each one of their meals to make sure they're getting a good insulin response with each and every bite. And if they are going to be on the go, if they are going to be eating out for a certain weekend, I will literally give them 5 to 7 different meals that they can choose from that, one, give them a really good insulin response, and 2, are going to be very enjoyable to eat. It could be Chili's, it could be a Mexican restaurant, it could be any restaurant, or even a fast food restaurant too. So if that's you and you're already thinking, man, this is a guy that can certainly help me and I want to start losing my gut, I want to start losing some weight as quickly as possible, then click the first link on the video description. It's my Calendly link. You can speak with me one-on-one and we can basically see if I can help you lose your gut. And then if I know I can, then I'll make you an offer at the end of the call to start working with you one-on-one. So number 6 is you don't stay consistent at least a few times a week in the gym, or you have weeks where you don't even want to show up. Once again, same theme here. You have a plan that you do not look forward to doing, right? This could be the case. Now, you could also be somebody that does not want to work out at all under any circumstance. If that's you, then go ahead and just click off this video right now, because you absolutely have to work out if you want to see results, right? Now, if you're somebody that is down to make this somewhat fun and do exercises that aren't extremely boring or are not overly complicated, then it's going to be easier for you to stay consistent, you know? But if you don't show up to the gym for weeks on end, I mean, yeah, you can completely optimize your diet and still see results even if you don't work out, but you're not gonna see near as much in the way of results if you just completely skip the gym. You have to make time for the gym. And I don't care who you are, whether you're working 80 hours a week or if you're working, you know, full-time for a company, or if you own a company, whatever, you have time to work out. There's guys in my program that can only work out for 15 minutes and they still see amazing results. My client Ryan, who, you know, just joined the program about a week ago, is already getting workouts in. He's got a crazy work schedule. Things are hectic. Nothing's set in place. It's completely volatile, and he still finds time to actually get that 15-minute workout in, and he's already got his energy back. Now, number 7 is you eat too much in the way of carbohydrates for your current status of metabolic health and your weight loss goal. This is huge. If you're looking to lose anywhere between, you know, 50 to 100 pounds, or especially 100 pounds plus, you do not need to make carbohydrates the main focus of your diet. Because once again, it kind of comes back to point number 1 here with dietary fat. There's so many guys that have so much in the way of weight that they need to lose because they've just been eating too much in the way of carbohydrates. Of course, I'm not one to say that carbohydrates are completely evil, but processed carbs, processed sugars, and even some natural carbohydrates can be unhealthy if you're already in a state where you're metabolically unhealthy, you're insulin resistant, your hemoglobin A1C is through the roof, or your fasting insulin is through the roof, right? You know, I'm not a medical specialist. I grew up in a household with an MD who actually taught me everything, but of course I can't analyze blood work and basically give you recommendations based off that, but I do understand the blood panels and the biomarkers that go with excessive weight gain, right? And hemoglobin A1C and fasting insulin certainly relate to that. If you are somebody that has an elevated fasting insulin or an elevated hemoglobin A1C, then you do not need to be eating 200 to 300 grams of carbohydrates even from a natural source, because you're insulin resistant most likely. You're most likely in a state where insulin is constantly elevated for hours on end, and you're only going to exacerbate that issue even more so if you're eating hundreds of grams of carbohydrates even from natural sources, from fruits and vegetables. So that's why I always recommend for somebody that either works with me one-on-one or someone I give recommendations to start off with a ketogenic diet or even a carnivore diet to turn the carbohydrate notch all the way down to 0. Lose your first at least 20 to 30 pounds of body fat, then you can slowly start to turn the carbohydrate notch back up again and slowly start to introduce it again. Because there's so many guys too that will just start to lose 20 to 30 pounds when they do a ketogenic diet. They're not eating any carbohydrates, and then all of a sudden they turn it all the way up to 200, and they're so glucose intolerant, their body hasn't seen carbohydrates in months, and all of a sudden they just start packing on all of this body fat because their body doesn't necessarily know how to respond to all that glucose and hasn't seen it in months. So if you are that person, slowly scale your carbohydrate notch up as you lose more and more weight. And it's going to be different for everybody, but I can certainly break that down for you if we were to work together one-on-one, right? And there's plenty of content about that on my Instagram if you want to check out that link in the video description. I have a link to my Instagram at It's Bobby O'Brien. I have a really good video on there talking about exactly what you should do if you are that person as well. Now, number 8 is that you cannot stay consistent with any new regimen that you follow. So this could be for multiple reasons. It could be that you absolutely hate the regimen that you have decided to follow, or you straight up just have no motivation for any sort of underlying reason that could be psychological or could be, lifestyle related that needs to be addressed first. But one thing's for sure is that you can have the best plan in the world, right? You can have my plan, right? Which I personally think is the best plan for weight loss right now in the fitness industry. But if you do not have the accountability, the discipline to apply that on a weekly basis, you will not see results. It's not going to happen. It's like saying that, somebody that works 10 hours a week for at a corporate job is going to become a millionaire in 2 years. That's just as stupid as saying somebody who's not consistent with their workouts, their diet, or their sleep schedule is going to be super metabolically healthy and is going to be losing weight consistently each and every month. You got to stay consistent to actually reap the benefits of your hard work, right? Because at the end of the day, this is going to take a little bit of work. You are going to have to get your hands dirty a little bit. Now, you don't have to get them filthy like you would with a caloric deficit, but still, you're going to have to do something. You can't do nothing and expect something. So, number 9, you drink way too much in the way of alcohol on a weekly basis. So many guys do this. If anything, if there's some of you that are probably watching this video right now that will drink 20 beers on a weekly basis every single weekend, if not more than that, going out every weekend, drinking with friends, etc. And I'm sorry, I know it's really difficult to avoid that, and there's so many guys I've spoken to that just cannot give up alcohol. But at the end of the day, that's one of the biggest catalysts that's actually accumulating body fat. Ethanol is actually a 4th exclusive macronutrient that is very, very difficult to metabolize. And it's very, very difficult to, especially if you're already metabolically unhealthy or you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s as a guy, it's really difficult for you to actually break all that down without you actually storing it as body fat, especially in the visceral region. I've worked at Anytime Fitness for a very long time, and with the consultations that I've had, we'll take these eVault scans where we actually scan somebody's body fat, right? Their body fat percentage. We can even see their visceral fat, the fat that's built up around their organs or the fat that's built up around their skin. And of course, I'll never say names, but there's been so many times where guys have come in and they talk about how they have a drinking problem. They talk about how they just refuse to put down alcohol. And we take their eVault scan, and their visceral fat, the fat that's built up around their organs, is just through the roof. So there is a heavy correlation, at least with the anecdotes that I've seen, as well as some correlative research that I've looked at as well online, that shows that visceral fat definitely correlates to alcohol consumption. So the more alcohol you consume, there is a correlation there that you more than likely will accumulate more in the way of visceral fat. And visceral fat is one of the biggest predictors for overall mortality. So it comes down to this. Of course, having a drink here and there is not a big deal. If you go out on a weekend, maybe just having 2 or 3 here and there, a few drinks per month or something like that. But drinking at a high volume consistently each and every weekend, you can't expect to see results. It comes back to what we said earlier. If you have like 30 beers every single weekend and you somehow expect to be losing weight on a monthly basis, that's just as stupid as saying that some kid who works 10 to 20 hours a week at a part-time job for Walmart, for example, is going to be a millionaire in 2 years with working with that same schedule, with keeping those habits the same. You have to change the change. If you want to lose weight, you definitely have to cut your alcohol intake down by a large margin if you actually want to see consistent weight loss. Like Dion, for example, the guy I referenced earlier here, one of my clients that joined about a month ago, he does not drink alcohol at all whatsoever. Once again, the results speak for themselves. He lost 12 pounds in his first month. Eric, whenever we were working one-on-one with each other, he lost 20 pounds in 2 months. Was not drinking alcohol at all whatsoever. And it's not to say that you can't drink alcohol at all. You can have it every now and then, but you cannot overindulge in alcohol every single weekend and let your friends dictate how much you have and then somehow expect to be losing weight on a monthly or weekly basis. It's not gonna happen. So number 10, the final reason why you most likely cannot lose your gut is you use your work schedule as an excuse for being overweight or having a gut. Now listen, I work 60 to 80 hours a week. I work a full-time job and I also run an online business. But can you imagine if I use my work schedule as an excuse for me not to make any sort of healthy changes, to not work out, to not eat healthy, etc.? I would not be sitting here making this video right now. You have to make decisions that are uncomfortable. If you're not consistently uncomfortable, maybe not every day, but if you're not consistently uncomfortable at least on a weekly basis, you are not growing. I know working a 12-hour day is tough. There's been days I've worked 16 hours. But I will still make time for the gym. There's been times where I've only had time to work out for 15 minutes, but I still blow up my arms. or my legs or whatever it is. Because a 15-minute workout is far more valuable for your success and for your future self than not working out at all. Because the best way I can really break this down is that if you are somebody that has an hour for lunch or an hour break, a 12-hour shift, or you don't have to go until 8, there's all these times where you can work out besides working out at 8 or 9 p.m. Right? You got lunch, you got the morning, you can make the extra effort, but you just decide not to, or you decide to do it tomorrow, which really means you're not gonna do it. And the same thing goes for your diet as well. If you're using your work schedule as an excuse to, not prepare for work with meal prepping, even though it just takes 15 to 20 minutes to make 6 to 10 different meals that can get you ready for the next 3 days. I've made videos about that as well. You can check them out on Instagram. Link is in the video description. There's all these different resources that you can use to actually prepare yourself for, success while you're working long hours, right? Even if you're going out to lunch with friends, you can still eat very healthy at McDonald's, at fast food restaurants, at restaurants in general, or even if you're ordering takeout, as long as you know how to order correctly and get a really good instant response, right? Eating higher fat, higher protein foods as a main course, then getting natural carb sources on the side and just getting side orders and packing them on. Because eating al pastor that is drenched in white queso with a side of guacamole is way better, tastes much better, and is much healthier, right? Than, ordering, let's say, a Big Mac with extra Mac sauce with a Diet Coke. Yes, that may taste a little bit better, but it certainly is not near as healthy. And that's probably what most of you guys do whenever you are, going out with coworkers to order food. You just order whatever, and you cannot do that. You have to constantly think about, okay, how am I gonna get a really good instant response while eating out? And how am I gonna do that while still making this somewhat enjoyable? Once again, you check those 2 boxes, game over. You will be able to see results. You will be able to lose your gut, because if you don't make those changes, you will not change, and you will not see a flat stomach in the mirror. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at It's Bobby O'Brien. The link to that will be in the middle of the video description. And if you would like to speak with me directly to see if I can help you lose weight consistently on a monthly basis, month after month, and see the number on the scale not just go down but stay down, feel free to click the link at the very top of the video description. It is the Calendly link to speak one-on-one with me to see if I can help you lose weight consistently on a monthly basis and make your gut completely disappear. If I think I can help you, I'll make you an offer at the end of the call. We'll get started working together right on the call. So once again, that link will be right on the top of the video description. You can click right there if you'd like to speak with me directly. But other than that, I will see you in the next video.